This is KGW News at Sunrise.
If you're waking up this morning, you may have missed this. Gosh, what a disturbing and disheartening scene overnight. You can see flashbangs, tear gas, even bonfires. Sky 8 was overhead as peaceful protests turned into a violent riot through Northeast and into downtown Portland. Rioters did major damage to dozens of businesses. They broke into the Pioneer Place Mall and set fires inside the Justice Center. Good morning, and thank you for getting up with us on this Saturday morning. I'm Christine Pitawanich, and that riot is our top story this morning. If you were asleep, gosh, these images are so startling. Police in riot gear, people in the streets. KGW's Maggie Vespa takes us through a very chaotic night downtown. And we want to warn you, some of these photos are disturbing.
In downtown Portland last night, protesters smashed the windows of and set fires inside multiple banks and the Portland Police Bureau's Justice Center. This building includes the county jail, and this video is from Alex Zielinski at the Portland Mercury. Minutes later, flashbangs. Dave Killen at the Oregonian took photos of the aftermath inside the Justice Center. Broken windows and flames. Sergio Olmos, a reporter with Underscore News, followed a group into Pioneer Place, where they smashed their way into a Louis Vuitton store. Back outside from Sky 8, we saw police in riot gear use tear gas as they advanced on the crowd. They tweeted protesters were throwing objects at them. On Twitter, they declared the protest a riot. We saw protesters pulling what looked like cardboard from a dumpster and setting that on fire. Minutes later, the flames were massive. The chaos downtown, our crews reported, the work of splinter groups who, little by little, broke off from the thousands who marched through Northeast Portland. They walked south from Peninsula Park after last night's vigil for George Floyd. Most were peaceful, but eventually, anger boiled over. We saw smashed windows and graffiti, a Verizon store, the Nike community store, all targets of the wrath over Floyd's death. At least one point, the protesters found themselves targets too. Dave Killen of the Oregonian catching these horrifying images of a driver hitting a man with his car in an intersection. Killen tweeted it happened at Northeast Shaver and MLK. He said the car had gone through the intersection once, gotten pummeled, and come back. Killen tweeted the man hit said he was okay. Protesters last night marched for hours after that happened, leaving parts of the city torched and shattered in their wake. Maggie Vespa, KGW News.
Difficult to see all that damage. And Portland's mayor has declared a state of emergency and is putting a curfew in place in the city. In fact, the curfew went into effect in the middle of the night and went until 6 o'clock this morning. It will kick in again at 8 o'clock tonight until 6 a.m. on Sunday. This means all travel on public streets is prohibited. The only people exempt are those traveling to and from work to get emergency care or escape dangerous situations. People who are homeless are also exempt. Those caught out during the curfew hours could be looking at a $500 fine. We talked to Mayor Ted Wheeler live on the air last night when all of this was unfolding. He was absolutely furious about the damage he was seeing.
This morning started out with such beautiful and heartfelt tributes to George Floyd. And what we have right now is something completely different. This is a riot. It's a full-on riot. We see people burning cars. We see people damaging businesses, large and small, including some businesses, I believe, which are owned by local African-American business owners. We're seeing looting. What I see here does not honor in any way the legacy of George Floyd. This is something completely different. And threatening and physically hurting each other doesn't honor George Floyd or any other black person who should not have died. And what we're witnessing is the dismantling of our beloved communities in Portland, in Atlanta, in Minneapolis. Enough. This isn't us. This does not reflect our community. And to the people who are still out on the streets engaged.
We expect the mayor to address the damage and next steps later this morning. As we mentioned, a big part of the problem last night were all the fires that were started up in several spots. You're looking at one that erupted inside the Chase Bank near Pioneer Courthouse Square. Portland Fire and Rescue says they were called to 20 fires in all, and that doesn't include the smaller fires that were put out with fire extinguishers. And here's another fire that was started inside a dumpster and sent flames just shooting into the air. Huge. Portland Fire say there were at least 3 of these types of fires. They also fought 1 car fire, 5 fires in commercial high-rises, and 11 random fires in the streets. The riot here in Portland was just one of many violent protests across the country. The Pentagon has even ordered military police units to be ready to deploy to Minneapolis, which has been the center of controversy since the death of George Floyd. Last night, demonstrators surrounded a police station there. An 8 p.m. curfew did not stop the crowd on a third night of protests. Meantime, the former police officer that sparked all of this now stands charged with murder. Derek Chauvin was arrested Friday afternoon. He's charged with third-degree murder and manslaughter in the recent death of George Floyd. Chauvin held Floyd to the ground with his knee on Floyd's neck on Monday. Back in the Portland area, Mike Schmidt will soon take over as Multnomah County District Attorney. He talks about Floyd's death on this week's Straight Talk. He wanted to acknowledge that tragically incidents like Floyd's death have been happening for a very long time. He says his role as district attorney will be about accountability for police and building trust with the community.
I've called in this campaign for outside or independent investigations of these things, these types of incidents, so that the public can have trust that it's not just the prosecutors in Multnomah County who always work with the police officers in Multnomah County policing themselves, but that we actually have some independent voice coming in and reviewing these cases. I think that that could go a long way to restoring and building trust to the community that the law is being applied equally to everybody.
You can watch our full interview with the new Multnomah County District Attorney on Straight Talk tonight at 6:30. Another big weekend story, of course, turning now to our weather. Specifically, we're expecting a lot of rain this afternoon. Let's check in on our Wells Fargo Skycam. A little bit gray out there. And by the way, Portland police saying some of those big disturbances now have quieted down this morning. Let's check in now with Joe Ranieri for a quick look at the forecast.
Happy Saturday morning to you. I'm KGW meteorologist Joe Ranieri, and if you're hoping to see some of that warm temperatures we saw a couple days ago, yeah, it's not going to happen, unfortunately. We're going to be seeing some sweeping changes heading into really the afternoon hours. We're going to be seeing mainly dry weather out there this morning, then heading into right around 2, 3 o'clock, we'll start to see some showers kind of intensify a little bit. Looking at the morning hours, mostly cloudy skies out there. And as we head into the later part of the day, that's when things really start to pick up in terms of all that rain. You can see some yellows and some oranges out there. Don't be surprised if there's some thunderstorms at times. And because of all that rain we're going to be seeing, there could be a chance to see some area streams and river rises throughout the later part of the afternoon and into the evening hours as well. The good news is, heading into Sunday, it will be much drier and just a little bit warmer. I'll have the details on that coming up.
Now to coronavirus coverage. Washington Governor Jay Inslee says his stay-at-home order will expire tomorrow, but it will be replaced with a new proclamation.
And under this new approach, counties will have more flexibility to demonstrate that they have the capability to stay on top of the virus.
Governor Inslee also announced new requirements for the workplace yesterday. Chief among them, starting June 8th, all employees who interact with customers will be required to wear a face covering. Meantime, Clark County's application to move into Phase 2 is still on hold for now. The pause happened after more than 80 cases connected to an outbreak at Firestone Pacific Foods in Vancouver. The state says it hopes to have more information on Clark County's application next week. Businesses and restaurants are hoping to move into the next phase soon. And in Oregon, hundreds of Washington County business owners are getting ready to reopen on Monday. The county will enter Phase 1 of the relaxed COVID-19 rules from the governor. And as Pat Doris found out, for many people, This can't happen soon enough.
At a Beaverton gym called Workout Anytime, the spray bottles and hand sanitizers take a rare break. This is a day of cleaning and prep after a shutdown that stretched 2.5 long months. Owner Jason Loba bought the franchise at the first of the year.
We shut down March 23rd, and so being off, not being able to draft members, for that amount of time things were really starting to get tricky.
He said his place will have cleaning standards that go way beyond what the CDC recommends and believes the gym's reputation for being spotless will lure customers back.
So we're really confident that you can come here and work out and feel safe about the cleanliness here.
The feeling is the same at Frenchie's Modern Nail Care in Beaverton. They're installing plexiglass shields and booking appointments with customers eager to get back in.
Yes, we are very excited to be opening again on Monday since we've been closing for 2.5 months.
Phase 1 means personal care salons like this one and gyms and restaurants can reopen. But everyone is concerned about the COVID-19 virus, so customers here will have to book appointments online and wait in their car until a text tells them to come in. Owner Lynn Halama said her team and her business are ready.
We have also an autoclave that clean all our implement just like as a dental office, so everything is nice, fresh, and clean.
In Hillsboro, the Bennett Coffee Roasting Company offers hand sanitizer with your caffeine and a variety of masks for sale.
We have 3 different kinds of masks.
Behind the scenes, it's been tough.
It's been pretty scary. It's pretty hard.
The husband and wife got no federal support and no unemployment. They sold coffee online and cannot wait to get customers back into their store on Monday.
We're all worried about how we're going to make the rent on the buildings that we've been closed for 2 months, and how is that rent factoring into the income that's going to come in the next 3 months.